Hello everyone. Oh, happy Monday. How is everyone? For those in the UK, how have you enjoyed your bank holiday Monday? How was the audio sounding, by the way? I've had a few tech rounds today, and so it's entirely possible that I need to open the laptop lid. I'm not 100% sure, so if it's hard to hear me, let me know and I will open the laptop lid and solve the problem. But yeah, it's Monday. Woo! We're going to attempt some mobile development because basically I've been, because of working from home because of the pandemic, I was able to take home a USB-C dock that I use for my laptop at work. And it's great, it's one cable kind of thing. But the only downside is that it uses DisplayLink as the drivers, and so on my MacBook, DisplayLink works. The way DisplayLink works is that it uses your CPU and your GPU to compress down the image from transmission over the USB cable. Then the dock itself will just be like decompress it, which is great, and that's how you get the one cable solution stuff. But it uses a lot of CPU power, so I think that's one of the reasons why I've been having kernel panics. And so I've ditched the dock. I've bought another dock, but that's currently out for delivery, so that may turn up during the stream. But I've just switched back to good old-fashioned HDMI cable and USB-C dongles into my MacBook. I've got one of the 2016 MacBook Pros, and the first one's with a touch bar, so it's all USB-C/Thunderbolt. So I've got a Thunderbolt 3 dock coming, but for now it's just HDMI. So it might be that the stream performs better because it's not trying to do the stuff with the dock. But I don't know whether the dock was responsible for weird sound issues where the USB microphone over here was picking up fan noise on the desk. So yeah, let me know if it sounds dodgy and I will open the laptop lid. But at least today, hopefully, we'll be able to actually do some mobile development. Obviously, I've been working on my desktop app recently. Not desktop app, blog. Hey, Critic Enigma, nice to see you. How are you? How's your bank holiday Monday been? I know we spoke earlier, but you never know. But yes, I'm just saying about so I'm hoping that without the dock involved, I won't get any kernel panics and my CPU will cope a bit better. Because I've streamed mobile development on the stream before, so I don't really understand why it's having problems. So fingers crossed today, I think will work. So on our magic screen today, we have the app. So this BodyLanguaAssistant app is an app that I started creating. Thank you. Okay, that answers that question. There we go. Is that any better? I've got to say, it's going to fix displays. It thinks the screens are the wrong way around. Okay. Sweet, yeah. So yeah, this essentially answers the question I had, which is, I knew that I've got a pretty solid idea that a Dell DisplayLink dock I had attached was causing kernel panics, but I didn't know whether that was also responsible for the fact that if I don't have my laptop lid open, my USB mic picks up the fan noise. But you've answered my question, so thank you very much for that. So yeah, so the plan today is to try and update BodyLanguaAssistant. So what that is an app that I wrote it in 2018, and it uses Xamarin and Microsoft Cognitive Services, which is Microsoft's kind of cloud-based AI and machine learning service, and it offers all sorts of things under like different pillars, as I call them. I think there's language, decision, speech, search, and something else. But yeah, it's really cool and it's really powerful. So back in 2018, I started to think about public speaking for the first time. And a couple of months prior, I'd actually watched a talk on cognitive services. And I was just really blown away by how simple it was. Like, all the hard work for most of it was done by Microsoft. So you could literally bring in like AI and machine learning into your apps in a few lines of code. So kind of watching that talk gave me some ideas in terms of how some of the cognitive services could be used to make a useful app that helps me, because I sometimes struggle to understand sentiment or meaning in messages, or like reading body language and stuff. So kind of to kill two birds with one stone, I developed this app to help me with these kind of problems, but also allowed me to learn cognitive services, have a half decent app to demo, and obviously that kind of helped the talk make itself. So, hey Texas, nice to see you. Yeah, so basically, just saying Texas, 2 years ago I wrote an app called BodyLanguaGAssistant, which uses, it's written in Xamarin, which is Microsoft's .NET cross-platform application development framework. So it's literally like a really thin .NET wrapper around native SDKs and tooling. So you can kind of write once, deploy anywhere: iOS, Android, UWP, watchOS, tvOS, macOS, technically Linux and preview. Ties and Samsung people do a lot, so that's like fridges and TVs and gear watches and all that. But yeah, so it's using Xamarin. And I do an intro to Xamarin talk where I show off not only what Xamarin is and how to get started, but also how you can use cognitive services with it to do a bit more. So I developed this BodyLanguaGAssistant app, which kind of helps me as someone neurodiverse who does actually struggle to analyse sentiment. But at the same time, it gives me a good demo for talks. So I created this app, as I said, back in 2018. So it's out of date now, and I should have updated things like the packages more often. But it's got to a point now where it's so old that I just want to write the app again. So I've gone ahead and created a brand new project, and I've put a couple of buttons in. And apart from when you click the button, this page has some text in it. If you do analyse, nothing happens. So there's no functionality in the app at the moment. One of the reasons for that is because not only was it, I found just updating the packages was just awkward and it was easier to start again, but also since developing this, the analyse sentiment side of it, so the reading text and giving you back the meaning, that previously didn't have an SDK, so we had to use HTTP REST calls to send off the text to be analysed and get a response back. And it was very, very quick. It's just writing HTTP code. It just came with a lot of extra lines to make the app even bigger when it was just something simple. But now an SDK is available, what I want to do is actually update this app that I'm rewriting to use that as well. So that's today's plan. So the body language side of it we haven't done yet. But tonight we're going to try and get the text analysis side done. It's a pretty boring looking app. I've not done much in terms of design. A friend of mine in the Netherlands who also streams, so I'm actually going to give him a shout out. He does a lot of stuff with really cool libraries and stuff that has a lot of, it improves the UI a lot, and he's just generally very good at making pretty apps. So yeah, so Stephen's going to come and guest on the stream at some point. Once we've got the functionality back in, we're going to have Stephen on as a guest. And so he can help me make it look a lot better. So I apologise, it looks trash at the moment. It will get better. Enjoy your lunch, Texas. Yeah, so that's the plan today. It's just to start bringing in sentiment analysis into this app. We have a decision to make. If you follow me on Twitter, you would have seen me tweet about this earlier when I started a poll. So yeah, the app has two functions. You can either analyse sentiment in text, or as you saw, you can analyse body language, but it's not written yet. Neither of these two functions are more important than the other. They're just two different things around, assistance with body language. Okay, technically, sentiment in text is body language, but I just like the name. But yeah, neither of these are important. So I was kind of mulling over earlier how we can handle this navigation, because I'm not used to seeing apps that have got a menu page like this. That's very desktop app style. Most apps, Twitter, Gmail, pretty much all of them these days do bottom tabs. But my issue with bottom tabs is that it, which function takes precedence. It's not that analysing body language or reading sentiment in text is more important. It's not like Twitter where your timeline is the most important, or like Gmail where your inbox is important. Things like on Twitter, along the bottom, you've got you've got like your timeline at first with the home icon, and then I think you've got like search, maybe trending, and then search on the trend, something, and then I think there's messages after that. So your timeline of tweets is always going to be like the most important, so that makes sense to show up first. With this application, it doesn't matter. So I started a poll earlier, which was just helping me decide how to solve this navigation. I think for now, buttons is fine. And I'll stick with it until someone tells me otherwise, that they feel very strongly and this is what I should do. But yeah, so that's the app. It doesn't do an awful lot at the moment. So we're going to change that. So let's bring up Visual Studio. Is anyone in the chat write Xamarin normally, or what's everyone's language of choice? I'll try and pitch my explanations, so I don't want anyone to feel left out or left behind. Of course, this is the imposter syndrome battleground and all that, so if you do have questions, by all means just ask, just interrupt, it's not a problem. In fact, it's welcome. This is a group activity, as they say. So let's bring up Visual Studio, as I said. There it is. Bring that over here. So let's just close everything and I'll come back to all this. Shut these. So I'm just going to quickly do a solution explanation for anyone who's new. So this is, it's called BodyLanguaAssistant. So because correcting enigma's got some valuable input. The reason most apps use bottom navigation is so you can navigate using a single hand, not having to slide the device around in your hand to hit buttons. It's also why gestures are a preferred route. Interesting point, yeah. Well, this is the thing, I think bottom navigation is very common. And I guess I'm probably overthinking it somewhat because it doesn't really matter. It's just, I'm not happy completely with a menu page like that. I'm just not quite sure the alternative. As I said, I like the idea of bottom navigation, it's just which function is more important. But yeah, so if you've not seen Xamarin before, this is the solution. So you've got the shared project, as we call it. So this is a .NET standard, I think it's 2.0 project. So it's just .NET. It's nothing fancy. If you're developing a Xamarin application, for example, obviously, of course, this is a Xamarin application, but if you're developing it based on maybe using some code you've already got. So it might be that you've got an Azure function, which is Microsoft serverless platform. You could just add the project to this solution and it, and reference it, and it would work fine. But we've got a couple of projects here as well, and depending on what platforms you target, obviously this will grow. But you've got iOS. So if you've ever done any native iOS development with Objective-C or Swift, this structure will look similar to you. It's just obviously everything's a C# file, but because it really is just a thin layer, and once you get to compile time, build and compile, everything is just native out of the box. The layout's the same, so you've got the app delegate, which just says what the first page of the application will be. So in this case, rather than saying it's going to be this page that's a iOS page that's in this project, you initialize Xamarin.Forms, which is their cross-platform UI framework, and then just say, right, load the application and call new app, which we'll see shortly. But yeah, pretty straightforward. It's the same structure you'd expect for an iOS project. We don't really need to change anything in this project because everything's in the shared code. Android's the same. Got a main activity, which is where the starting point of the project is. So again, all it does, ignore all the gumph, but yeah, it initializes Xamarin.Forms and then loads the application. And then the main stuff happens in here. So this is the shared project. So you get AppXAML, where you can declare themes, like start theme. We call them themes, but it's application-wide styling. So if you put it in here, this app.xaml file, it's available from anywhere. So I'm just saying that for every button that I give the style button style, it will have a work sans font family, and then the background color, the colors that I specify up here. And then we've just got the views themselves. Oh, Cadillac Jack is here. Welcome, welcome. You could implement a bottom navigation and have a bigger button in the middle, which could be the home page button, and then the functions on each side of it, but a bit smaller. See, that's a good idea, but the problem again with that is that what would be on the home page, because it's literally just either you want to do X or you want to do Y. And so, like, what would the home button show? Like, would it just show the menu? So that's a good idea. I'm hoping to brainstorm some ideas with people tonight, so we'll see how we get on. But look, maybe a short explanation of what each function does. Okay, yeah. So if I just load this up again, there we go. So this app that I'm writing is using Xamarin and Microsoft Cognitive Services, which is their AI and machine learning service, and it helps you. So has two different functions. So you can either analyze sentiment in text. So you literally type in here, whatever you want, and then it's not, obviously that's what we're writing tonight, so it's not implemented yet. Oh, apologies. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, yes. Yeah, you're right, Cadillac Jack. So homepage, you could show an explanation of what the functions do. Yeah, I like that. Okay. We'll come back to that one. We'll put the functionality in first, and then we can improve the homepage. But that's a good call. I like it. We can try it afterwards and see how people feel about it. Yeah. But let's have a look. So yeah, so as I was saying, so this is application-wide theming. Then so if you've ever done, has anyone in chat ever done NSP.NET Core or anything before, like MVC? So, or a bit like with Razor pages, you can do, it's like .razor.cs or something, isn't it? This is the idea of partial classes. So every XAML file, so XAML is extensible application markup language. So it's not the same dialect of XAML as something like UWP, but it's the same concept. But yeah, so you have a XAML file, and then for every XAML file you have a code behind, as we call it, which is a partial class. So in our case, the app has one as well, but you don't use it quite the same way. But you just specify what the first page of the application will be. When you create a new Xamarin.Forms project out of the box, it will give you at the root level here, it will give you a main page.xaml. I removed that just because I was using something under views. But yeah, it sets the main page here, so it's just saying, this is what the first page will be. And this is the app that you saw being referenced in the project code lower down. But yeah, it's pretty simple stuff. We don't touch that too often apart from the styling. Then what I've done is using an architecture called MVVM, or Model View Model. It's just another architecture that helps decouple the views from the models, and the view models just kind of act as the messenger in between. So in our case, we've got the menu page, which is just that frame you saw at the top with the name of the app and the background color. And then we have a stack layout that's saying, just do things stack like that. So by default, it stacks things vertically. So we're just putting another step layout in with a button that says, literally giving it that style. And then there's those buttons that you saw. You'll see this binding here. So this is reference to something called data binding, which you might have seen in other things, but you might not have done. So with data binding, you literally, you reference property inside these curly braces after the word binding, and then that property, as long as it implements a C# interface called iNotify property changed, it will automatically update the property and vice versa when something changes. So in this case, it might not necessarily be that anything changes, but it still makes things reusable. So we're just saying that when you click the button, what command will be run, and so it's just going off to some commands. Because it's MVVM, we also have view models for each page, and it follows the pattern of the name of the page and then view model. So if we have a look at the menu page view model, we've got those commands defined that you saw in the code or in the XAML, and so it's just getters and setters. Again, it's all just C# code. It's not any fancy Xamarin things, because Xamarin and Xamarin.Forms is a framework. It comes in automatically, kind of as a NuGet package. Hey Marcus, a bit like bind in Blazor. Yeah, I don't know much about Blazor. If you don't follow him already, everyone should give him a follow. But there's Corey Weathers, who works for Twilio. He is a big Blazor guy, and he streams it a lot. But he's someone that I learn a lot from. But we've had a conversation about turning a joke website that I threw up one day in 10 minutes during one of his streams into a proper Blazor app, which he started to do. But one of the things that we've talked about is me coming on his stream, and he will teach me Blazor as we move this project to kind of evolve from being a static website. And so I've been avoiding learning Blazor by accident. Obviously it's been a deliberate choice, but I'm trying to not accidentally learn it by watching someone's Blazor stream, because if I start learning any kind of Blazor to any level, then once Corey starts showing me Blazor on stream, it's not going to be organic anymore, because I would have already asked the questions. So I'm just trying to avoid Blazor at the moment. But yeah, it's the same concept. It's just binding properties together, and so you can reuse them, and there's notifications as values changed. It's more useful for other stuff later on, which we'll get to when we write the code. But for now, we're just creating these commands as public properties, and all they're saying is, because the view hierarchy works on a stack, so it's like a stack of plates, and so you're saying push this new analyze text page onto the top of the stack. The reason it's a navigation page is because we want to be able to click backwards to get back to the menu. So yeah, it's just pushing this to the top of the pile basically. So it'll be the page that you're actually looking at. So it's pretty straightforward, but yeah, it's a good one to get started with. So that's the menu page. Then the analyze text page, as you saw, is a label. Hey, White Panther's here! Woo! We're gonna play a victory sound, because White Panther deserves a victory sound, because her stream earlier was awesome but incredibly stressful. Ooh, I need to change the sound, don't I? There we go. Welcome. So, I hope you're alright, White Panther. I hope your day's gone a bit better since. So, those that don't know, not only is White Panther awesome and worth a follow, but she was streaming earlier, and she had one of those good intentions but a bit stressful stream where so many people in chat are trying to help solve a problem that you just can't keep up. But you did a great job. Pew pew! Laser Panthers! But yeah, so this is the font size. I should zoom in a bit. Really. Ooh, no, I've zoomed in on the wrong window. Zoom in on this window. Make sure everyone can see it right. So yeah, so this all looks a bit terrifying, but it's just XML tags. So if you write websites, HTML is a markup language as well. So we've just got, actually we can load the page, we can just do a comparison so you can see. So if we go into here, so we've got this label, enter text to analyze. Then we've got an editor. So this is a dynamically resizing window. So I will get bigger and bigger the more you type, I think. Yeah, see? So it's yeah, the more that you type, the bigger the box gets. So that's what that auto size text changes is. Then we just set the background color. And so you can see here, so this is data binding in use again. So in this case, we're saying that for the text, bind it to a property called text for analysis. The reason for that is because obviously we want to use this text later on to be analysed. I wish the Twitch chat text box did that. Yeah. Although this, I don't know. I don't know if you know, if Marcus or anyone else in chat knows, but does Twitch chat have a character limit? I'm sure it does. I'm sure I was using something the other day that I found out had a character limit that took me by surprise. But yeah, so we've got this editor. We've got that text which is using data binding so that we can access it much easier later. And then we've got the button that again has a button style applied and is bound to a command. Then we've got a label which you can't see at the moment, but you'll see that the text is bound to sentiment analysis result. So this is interesting because it's flipped. So it's still data binding, but it's showing you the kind of reasons from both sides as to why you want to do it. So for the text box here, the editor, we want to know what the text is in the box. But in the case of the label, we actually want to update the label with a value later on. White Panther, I'm not sure about that character limit. We should try it out. Do it. Feel free to write me long messages. But yeah, so you missed this, White Panther, but essentially this is the app that I was telling you about the other day that uses the same cognitive services stuff that I think we should put into Panther. And so we're gonna implement it today because this is a rewrite, because I didn't update the app for 2 years and it's just got to that point now where things are so old that it's easier to start again. Plus, there's now an SDK available for the text analysis stuff, whereas before it was just REST calls. So you'll be able to see that in action today. But this is absolutely what I want to chuck into Panther. Oh, it's time to stand up and stretch. I also need to keep an eye out for my Amazon delivery. Oh, we have 12 viewers. How nice. So, I'm going to stand up. Just going to check on Amazon while we shake our wrists out. Do some squats. I've also got a sore neck, sore back, so we'll see how we go. Nowhere near. Back to stretches. Yeah. Take our ankle. A bit of stretching. Stretching will matter a bit more later when I've been live for longer, but it never hurts us to stretch out. Right, there we go. So, as I was saying, this label is set to update on the flip side. So at the moment it doesn't show up, but when we've actually got something that we want to give to it, it will be the result. And everything's just using binding. So normally with stuff like text color, you would have seen up here that we reference something called static resource. So if you missed the start of the stream, what you can do with Xamarin.Forms, which is the cross-platform UI, so it's all, you write the UI once, and it will then compile and build with the native building tools. So once it's deployed, it looks exactly the same, whether it's written in Kotlin or Java for Android, or Objective-C or Swift for iOS. Hey, Goose of Wild. Nice to have you. But yeah, so we've got some in the application, like the app XAML file, you can declare resources, which is like application-wide resources. So you can do like I've done here, which is specify some colours that we want to reuse, and also a style. And obviously it's target type button, so if it's a button, we can apply this button style to it, and it will implement these properties. So this is just referencing itself, pretty much. But yeah, that's what a static resource is. It's just referring to something style-wise that, or whatever, that you've referred to that won't change. You can also do dynamic resource, which somewhere way down the line we'll get to, because dynamic resource is useful for themes. So if you want to switch between dark and light, you'd call stuff dynamic resource, and then you'd specify a value for light theme and a value for dark theme, and then it will just switch them out depending. But for now, it's all a static resource. But yeah, so normally we'd say that the text color is the static resource like property. The reason that this one is bound to a property that we've called sentiment result color is because what I did in the last app, and what I want to do with this one, is that you change the color of the text. So the label on the page that's invisible at the moment, that shows up here, shows up here. We'll kind of do some analysis, and based on the result, we'll output some text. But we'll change the text color depending on whether it's happy, sad, neutral, whatever, just to add a bit of fun to it. So that's why that's binding rather than a static resource, because we'll change it depending on the result. So that's the kind of the UI side of it that we've seen. And then you've got the view model that goes alongside of it. So we've got some backing fields here. So that's the kind of backing field names for the properties that you saw in the XAML file. Then in the constructor, we just say that we want a new command. It's all async, so it's all asynchronous, multi-threaded stuff. Because let's be honest, we don't want the whole UI to freeze, do we? Just because it's going off to think about what something means, we don't want it to lock up. Goose says, so I really wish Android had some form of iMessage extension. Yeah, I must admit, I don't tend to send pictures. So I've got an iPhone. This is a iPhone XS. I don't tend to send many pictures on anything other than WhatsApp and sometimes Snapchat. But yeah, like I like the fact that if I do want to text any pictures, if you both got iPhone, iMessage doesn't cost anything to send pictures and videos. But yeah, it's just Google though, isn't it? I mean, let's be honest, Android is awful for bloatware. Like every now and then I miss having an Android device, but to be honest with you, since I switched beginning of last year, I've not looked back with iOS, because I've already got a MacBook, and I've got a MacBook, I've got an Apple Watch because I've got an iPhone, but I've got an iPad. I don't want to be one of these people who sells their soul to the Apple ecosystem, but I won a GoPro at a hackathon, for example, and for the life of me, I could not get the firmware to update from Android, because the way it updates is you connect your phone to the GoPro with a private Wi-Fi that it sets up between the two. Then it should be able to use mobile data in the background to grab the firmware and then update the GoPro. But on Android, it just refused. It would just go, well, I haven't got any internet, because obviously the GoPro is not providing you any. And as soon as I switched to iOS, it just worked. So there's just lots of things that work. Goose is saying, more because iMessage is an iOS extension opens so much more as a dev. Shareability of your apps. Oh, okay. What kind of sharing do you mean? Because, show you something. So, let's get a new tab up. So, chat back. So, as you'd imagine, like the way that you write code if you're doing it specifically at the iOS code level or the Android code level is different. So even though they share features like, taking a photograph, or it's a bad one, checking internet connectivity, checking the battery status, all that stuff, there's features that you might want in your app, but how you'd write them for each platform is different. So people started writing plugins that you install across all the projects in your solution, and that takes care of all the platform level code for you. So you just have to call the library from your shared code, and it just, it takes all the heavy lifting away. But friend of mine who, James Montemagno, he's the principal program manager lead for mobile tools, or like .NET, like community, because he does like a lot of stuff for the .NET Foundation. But yeah, so he wrote so many plugins over the years, because pre-Xamarin acquisition by Microsoft in 2016, he was a developer evangelist at Xamarin. But he wrote so many plugins that now that he's a program manager at Microsoft, he started a project to take as many of the plugins as possible, rewrite them to make them, less kind of in your spare time hacky, and much more like Microsoft quality level, with proper, project management and code quality checks and CI/CD and all that stuff. And that's what created something called Xamarin Essentials, which, as Goose said, is a godsend. But it's great because there's like 70 plus different features that you don't have to worry about learning how to implement now. But the reason I thought of it with what you were saying, Goose, is because you talked about sharing. So yeah, there's all this stuff here that'll be different on each platform, but thanks to Essentials, you don't need to worry. Of course, not everything is covered, because there's always challenges, and there's plugins that maybe aren't the priority. So it's not like Essentials is the be-all and end-all for every possible thing that you might want to do, but it covers so many things, it's crazy. But yeah, you've got all sorts of things, from accelerometer, clipboard, email, open browser, then there's share. There's also all sorts of other cool things going on, but I just really like Essentials. But yeah, I don't think share will do what you want, Goose, but that's why I wondered what you were referring to. But yeah, so that's Essentials, that's pretty cool. We don't need it yet. But code time, so focus. So we've got the command going on. So we're saying that analyze text command that you saw being bound to on the XAML, if you click that, it will call analyze text down here. Now, it doesn't do anything at the moment, because I realised earlier that this would be a good thing for Stream, so I just wrote one line of code that calls a helper class I created. So we've got I'm not going to dox myself by opening it, but we've got an Azure keys. So that's got my API key from the Azure portal, because you can do all this stuff in code, but if you're going to create a cognitive services project, you still need to create one in the portal. I think there's a ridiculous number of calls you can make a month to cognitive services endpoints, or SDKs or whatever, before you actually get charged anything. So it is free, but you still need an API key and stuff to associate it with your account. So that's all in my Azure key. So it's got my API key for the work that I want to do, and also the endpoint to call, because like with AWS and Google Cloud Platform and all that, when you create a service, you specify what region you want it in. So in my case, you always pick the one that's closest to you. So there are UK ones, but for cognitive services, the nearest is West Europe, because Microsoft have dozens of data centers around the world, and most of them, they support every function, but not completely. So you'll sometimes find that your nearest data center isn't actually the nearest choice when you pick a region. But yeah, you end up with an endpoint and stuff. So I've got an Azure keys that never gets it's in GitHub, but it's in GitHub as I replaced the API keys with your API key here and all of that, because you can tell GitHub to, once you've committed the file once so that it's there, you can tell it specifically to ignore local changes. So I've changed it back to be my keys, but it will never end up in GitHub. So we're not opening that, but that's why it's there. Goose is saying, this is why I want Android to have a similar ability, because iMessage gives you the option to have a view controller inside of your SMS tray. Really useful for creating SMS-based games. Oh, that's cool. I never thought about it like that. As well as loving Microsoft stuff, I'm also a Twilio champion. So Twilio are a tech company that do a lot of communication SDKs. So voice, video, chat, SMS, WhatsApp, all that stuff. So I think if, depending on the type of game, because obviously I'm guessing, Goose, you're referring to like with a view controller, it's actually a UI game. But I guess if I was going to do a text-based game, I would do literally a text game and use Twilio for it. But that's an interesting use case. But I don't know what I don't really keep up to date with any of the Android development, so I don't know if you've got any plans to do similar. I think the problem is, I don't know if it's the same on iOS because I've always just used iMessage, but with Android you can get different text apps, can't you? I mean, and that's not true, I don't always use iMessage, I also use Signal, the secure texting app. So I was just thinking that maybe on Android the problem is that you can change the text app, but it might be that the text app is different depending on the company that's phone it is, because obviously Android is Android, but Samsung, Huawei, OnePlus, whoever, they'll always do different things to that version of Android to kind of make it their own, which is why Samsung comes with so much bloatware. So yeah, I don't know whether the reason they haven't done it is just because it'd be like, well, what platform are you, what texting app are you using? I don't know. But yes, okay, back to focus. So we've got this app and we have got this analyze text. So we call this text analyzer. I can remember seeing a demo from Twilio that was a chess game played over Messenger. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Yeah, because Twilio have this service called Twilio Conversations, and so yeah, Twilio Conversations supports browser, text, WhatsApp, Messenger, and all that stuff. So it would be really easy to use Conversations to implement something that anyone can join. So in this case, over Messenger. It's amazing some of the stuff that they do. In a few weeks, Twilio have got their annual conference called Signal, and I remember Signal from last year because believe it or not, during the keynote on day 2, I think it was, someone from a company that uses Twilio brought a wheelie bin onto the stage. I mean, who brings a wheelie bin onto stage? But they did, because it was using wireless, is it ultra-band IoT, like SIM cards in an IoT device. So essentially what was happening was that they had these IoT devices built into the wheelie bin, and so it would report how full or not the bin was. So then the trash men, bin men, whatever you want to call them, they could have the route mapped out for them based on which households needed their bins collecting, which I thought was super cool. So yeah, always expect the unexpected. They also, who was? Oh, it was Macklemore was in part of Signal last year. They had him record a video where he got pretend kidnapped, and then people had to during the space of the conference, because it was in person, get people to take part in some very basic getting started coding exercises with Twilio products. And once people had achieved a certain amount as a collective effort, it saved Macklemore, and then he appeared to sing and perform at the after party. So it was super cool. I wasn't there, but I was part of the Twilio TV Twitch channel, so I wasn't literally a presenter or anything. I was just in the chat every day. But that was cool. Yeah, as you can see, we have an empty class that's not doing anything. So it's time to put some cognitive services goodness into it. So has anyone in the chat used cognitive services before? So I'll just get the page up that we're going to use, and then I'll drop the link in chat. So we want language, text analytics, that's what we want. So as you can see, there's loads of options. So there's vision, language, speech, decision, and search. Decision, that's the one that I forgot earlier. But yeah, we're going to use text analytics for now. So yeah, so it provides advanced natural language processing over raw text. So you can do sentiment analysis, key phrase extraction, named entity recognition, and language detection. So in our case, we're just going to do sentiment analysis. So if any of you in chat watch White Panther's stream, if you don't, I recommend giving her a follow. But she's been doing something called Panther Ball, which is awesome. It's a Magic 8 Ball bot. So you can redeem 25 channel points and ask the ball a question, and then it will come back with a random response based on a load of fun responses that we put together. So one of the ideas that I had was that we could use something similar on the bot to analyse the sentiment of the questions being asked, and then rather than just having a long list of answers, put them into categories. So you say, yeah, oh, it's clearly a joke question. Okay, go and pick a joke response that might be 404 answer not found, all that kind of thing. So this is a much more serious use case, but I just think that this would be great for Panther Ball. Right, we're going to do it with C#. So let's go back to the top. There we go. So you've got a client library, so it's essentially a NuGet package. Obviously, it's not in something outside C#, but you've also got Python, JavaScript, Java, and other languages. So obviously, the response that you get in the docs depends, but we're going to do C#. So in our case, we've got an SDK. If you weren't here at the beginning, you would have missed me mentioning that when I wrote this app 2 years ago, it didn't have an SDK available for text analysis. So I used HTTP client to make the calls, which is .NET's like HTTP stuff for making like REST calls. And that's fine. It's just the code ended up with a lot of extra nonsense in it. I can grab it actually. Yeah. So Marcus was saying, in addition to sentiment, need to detect sarcasm. That would be impressive. Yeah, unfortunately, that's one downside, but that's why I deliberately put sarcasm into my responses. So, what am I after? Okay, so this is the old code. Ignore Explorer window. This is nothing to do with what I'm working on. Right. So I won't spend too much time looking at this because we'll only end up learning something that we don't care about. But it's using all HTTP clients. We have to initialize a client with the address and the timeout. Then we have to start building in the request with the different bits of info it wants, plus the text to analyze. Then again, it goes off and make the response message. Then it makes the request with all the headers and stuff that it needs, and then processes a response. So all this stuff, even the deserialized stuff, all of that is just HTTP, and that's 48, nearly 50 lines of code. It's just over the top. So we're going to switch to SDK based because I think it will be much neater. But one of the things that I do, if we find the one, is different responses. So we'll get to this later on. But yeah, essentially, if the response is negative, I just say sucks to be you. But we'll get to that. So I'm sarcastic, even if the app can't be. Okay, so let's follow the docs. Just going to check the docs are big enough. Yeah, everyone can see that, right? Yeah. Yeah, okay. So we want to grab it. So we've got the subscription, we've got the IDE. So as you can, not only can you create an account in the Azure portal, it's just a Microsoft account, but you can set a subscription up, it's free. You can have one that's just pay as you go. But yeah, with cognitive services, unless you make a load of calls, it's like, it doesn't like, I think it's like 5,000 calls a month or something ridiculous before they charge you anything, and even then it's pennies. So this is it's pretty fair to say that for something like this, it's free of charge. But yeah, we've got the IDE, we've got the text analytics resource, so I'll just jump to that, but I've got one already. Because obviously this is a rewrite of an existing app, so I can reuse all of the other stuff like the sentiment analysis endpoints. Let's just load the portal. That's what we want to do, dashboard. So, there you go. So this is even a quick start in the portal, but of course we'll use the docs. But yeah, you've got keys and endpoints, so can't see anything, so that's fine. But yeah, so I've got West Europe endpoint, but this is where you get your keys from and all that, so it's all pretty straightforward. You can regenerate them if you dox yourself. So that's cool. But yeah, so we've got the text analytics resource. We've got all the bits that it's asking for. Yes, there's a free tier, but in all fairness, the free tier was like, let's look it up. So, cognitive services F0. Zoom in. It's custom vision. About language. Oh, back in the docs, aren't we? Pricing, there we go. Tax analytics is Eurorest. West Europe, there we go. In pounds. So there you go. So I was right. I was right. Oh, glad I remembered that. So yeah, it's 5,000 transactions per month, and then over that, anything up to 500,000, it's £1.50 per 1,000 text records. So yeah, like unless this is in a really big popular production where you probably have the income to support paying anyway, it's completely free, and even then it's pretty cheap. You can upgrade to other versions later on which cost a lot more, but again, that's not necessary for a fun app like this. But yeah, so it's very cheap. So we'll follow the getting started. So I'm not going to do a .NET Core, but this will still apply. So we want to manage NuGet packages, and we want to install that. We can do that. So for those that don't normally write C# code, like NPM modules and stuff are called NuGet packages in C#. They're a little easier to work with and a little less in your face and open to security breaches like NPM. But we can, nope, that's even in that one, never mind. We can browse, we can search for that. So, doesn't let me zoom in on the box, that's a shame. Yeah, no, it doesn't work on the box. Okay, so you just have to take my word for it that even though this has only got 24,858 downloads, it comes from Microsoft themselves as the author. So we know that's the right one, and we know it's safe to add. So add the package, all our projects. So interestingly, we might find that because this is .NET Core, it should just work, but you never know, we might be proved wrong. But we can start doing stuff with all the instructions. So let's accept the user agreements. So how many people here in chat are based in the UK and enjoying Bank Holiday Monday with me? It's been a nice day. I had a few things I wanted to get done today. I didn't get as many things done as I wanted to, but that was only because awesome people went live on Twitch. And who doesn't want to show up to hang out and stream, right? As a streamer myself, who after today is 1 day away of streaming from qualifying for affiliate, like, yeah, I know the value of like active chat and supporting each other, and a lot of people who stream I consider my friends, and so yeah, like I just try and support. So when I saw people going live today, I was like, well, why would I not watch? Oh, So Marcus is in Kent, which is where I'm from originally. Whoop. I don't live there anymore. Critic and Income was in South West. Nice. I was in the South West last year. I think it was. Everything feels so strange now because this year has just been bizarre. But I remember sometime around last April, I think, there was DDD Southwest in Bristol. So I just travelled down for the day. I'm back, as you do. I don't know, Bristol feels far away, but like on the train, I think it took about 2 hours, maybe 2.5. Like it really wasn't that long, and it was a single train. So I just sat down, did some work, gave my talk, left. Oh, Marcus is originally from Notts. Oh, White Panthers from the Southwest. Yeah. We're the Manchester Migrators, White Panther. I know there is a lot more to the Southwest than Bristol, by the way. I'm just like I've been to all sorts of places. I've been to the Eden Project in Cornwall. That was cool. That was while I was on holiday in Devon. I went to Devon a few years ago. It was to Barnstable on a it wasn't a student getaway. It was I was on like a graduate program after university, and you kind of like your cohort, as we called ourselves, kind of form your own little family, because even if you're not necessarily all there for the same thing, because there was there was like HR, sales, project management, business, software people. It was different types of us, but we're all just one little family, and so we all went on a Christmas getaway to Barnstable. Well, near Barnstable. I moved here 16 years ago. I'm from near Bristol. Oh, nice. Yeah, it's my 10-year Manchester anniversary next month. Say next month. Being what? A couple of weeks? We've lived here for a decade. Well, technically not, because between the end of my first year at uni and then moving into my own flat in the September, I lived back with my parents again. So I didn't officially move here and never live anywhere other than Manchester since would have been more like 2011, but I consider this home for 10 years. I love it here. The people are nice. And there's plenty going on. I don't go out that much, but I just like the fact that if I want to go somewhere, I can just get on a train. I'm sure Marcus can vouch for this. There's not that much going on in Kent, in all fairness. It's a nice county, and obviously it's got Dover and Folkestone to get you to France. But unless you're in the parts of Kent that are, easy reach of London without being charged a fortune just for the privilege of going to London. Because I could go on a train rant about this. We can go on a train rant while we do some stretching. So basically London is considered like a kind of a pivot of it's considered the hub of everything because it's the capital, but the amount of extra that they charge just for the privilege of going to London is ridiculous. So, up here you can travel from Newcastle to Manchester for like 20 quid, £20. So what, $25-30? What, maybe 25 euros or other way? Basically not a lot, but down south, you're talking £40 for a 45-minute train ride. Like, it's mad, the amount of extra they charge. Steffi's saying, I guess I'm the odd one out then, as I'm not from the UK. Hey, that's fine. We welcome everyone here. Check the ankles out. Check our Amazon delivery. Marcus is saying, usually the only time I go out is on a bike ride. Nice scenery and sometimes nice weather. Well, that's true. Yeah. Let's just check on our delivery. So, the delivery I'm waiting for is my new Thunderbolt 3 docking station. Obviously, I'm not going to set it up on stream. No, it's still in town. I've got 3 hours before the window ends. So, I've got plenty of time. Yeah, you're still one of us, Steffi, even if you're not from the UK. Ooh, emotes, whoop. Bouncy bounce. will write some code today, honest. It's just nice to see chat active and seeing, like, getting to know people. So, I guess reading r/casual UK works. How nice. Oh, Reddit. I don't tend to go on Reddit much. It's one of those where I'm like, oh, I could get lost in like, today I learned, or explain it like I'm 5 and all that stuff, but I just don't. I think the only times I've really used Reddit were to ask a question that someone else wanted the answer to when they're at work, just to do with heating something up. So I went on a Reddit channel to ask a question. It was slimming world meal, so I was like, I didn't know the answer, so I was like, oh, subreddit might help. And then I think last year I was having a really bad time with my mental health, so I just jumped on like r/depression and some other ones. Reddit's like the Stack Overflow of life problems. It's probably a little toxic. Hey, that's like Stack Overflow, yeah. Yeah. That's today's hashtag. Reddit is Stack Overflow of life problems. Okay, so this is talking about adding some using statements. So that's like, import in like web development. But I don't need any of these yet because, again, maybe we do. Because this is in program. So if you create a new like ASP.NET, like not ASP.NET, or a .NET Core like console app, like this is suggesting here, you just get one file. Whereas obviously we've got only one file that's technically being used for this. It's just it won't be programmed. But we can put these into our text analyzer since it says we're going to need it. Don't need using. There we go. So they're all going to go grey because we're not using any of them. Ugh. System should always come first. No, system should always come first. This is just good practice. It doesn't actually make a difference to your code. It's just, yeah, you should normally prioritize system-based using statements. So we brought those in. Create variables for your resources key. So this is got credentials. I mean, we can do this because we can just grab it from our Azure keys. So we can say in our code that we want some properties. So this is going to be our Azure keys. Let's import that. Azure keys dot sentiment API key. There we go. And then our text analytics endpoint would be Azure keys dot base URL. There we go. Should work. Don't you have shortcut keys to move lines up and down? Probably, Marcus. I just can't remember what they are. So I don't even write code in my day job anymore, let alone on a Mac. And I don't write code that much unless I'm streaming. So I'm like in the please don't judge me, my code is awful kind of thing. But it also means that I don't know the shortcuts. But by all means, if you know the shortcuts, let me know. I just don't know what they are. We've got those in there, so let's have a look. Okay, so we're going to want that, but we're going to do it as in the constructor. So we're going to have a private. Let's do an undivar. Let's do a client. So we're going to say we're going to have a text analytics client. so we've set it up there, but we need to initialize it at the constructor level. So, oh no, it's going to be the same, isn't it? So it's going to be private. Oh, where's my server set gone? So that takes, I apologise for the size of that font. So the first one is it wants an endpoint, so that's going to be our endpoint. And then credentials. Okay. Semicolon. Feels a bit dirty initializing it up there, but it'll do. That's one good thing about doing anything by voice. You don't have to remember the shortcuts to say them. True. Anton's here. Does that work? Okay. Great to see you, Anton. How are you? So this is a bit different to what we're used to seeing when we go hang out with our buddies, because I don't write JavaScript or TypeScript. I wouldn't even know where to begin. Yeah, that's not quite true, but it's just intimidating and more stressing than it needs to be. But we're just working on implementing sentiment analysis for text using Microsoft Cognitive Services, so we're just following some docs. So we set up the client. We'll worry about that one later. Yeah. Had to calm down there today. Yeah. Well, that's why I was like, I was just trying to kind of put my non-mod mod hat on, which was like, I know sometimes things just get misinterpreted because they're over text, but everyone was just getting a bit ragey. No, ragey's a bit dramatic. Everyone was getting a bit frustrated. You know, you had White Panther got called a freak for using TypeScript, and it was just, in general, it was just all a bit. As I said, there was a lot of frustration, so I was just trying to get people to play nice. But even though this isn't I'm not doing anything cool with bots like White Panther does, hopefully we can all just hang out and have some fun. Just messing around with machine learning. What's not to love? I'm not going to worry about all of that. Sentiment analysis, here we go. It's okay. Are you calmer now, Anton? Do you feel better? Okay, so this is saying that you create a new function, and that takes a client that you created earlier and call it analyze sentiment. What? Call it analyze sentiment function. White Panther, I'm going to go back to playing our front end at this rate. Right, don't give up yet, because I still want to show you how easy this stuff is so that we can put it into Panther-bot, because I think it'll be hilarious. Obviously, this is C#, but it's the same concept. Because literally here, it's what? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 lines of code? It's easy. We got this. So it takes a client. We don't need to do that. We just need to take the text. Okay, so we can create a document sentiment in here. Oops. So okay, we want to create a method first that will do the analysis. So they called it. We're going to make this a public static public async path sentiment. Did you manage to get that 7 different days achievement news? No, I was going to stream yesterday to get to 6 out of 7, but White Panther went live, and let's be honest, White Panther's the best. If White Panther's going live, I'm not missing it. So plus, like, a lot of us, we share, like, you know, we all get together in the same streams. And so with White Panther being live, I knew that if I went live, not only would I be missing out on the fun, but none of her chat would be in my chat, and so it'd be pretty much dead. Like, as you've noticed tonight, pretty much everyone that's here is also in White Panther stream, so I would just be pretty much streaming to nobody. But this is 6 of 7, so I'll go live again this week. And then I should have all the boxes ticked. I think it will take Twitch a while to get to the point of offering me affiliate, even though I qualify, because unlike some people here, I haven't made it in a week. Text analyze sentiment. That's going to take a string, which is the text to analyze. You'll get it. Yeah, I have no doubt. It's just one of those. I didn't see the point of giving up what I wanted to do, which was watch and support White Panther, just for the sake of ticking a box. It's just not worth it. So, whereas obviously, like last Monday, we all hung out for like 5 hours. We had a great time. You know, I got to sit back and drink see-through wine while White Panther did the work. You know, it was just such fun that Mondays is a regular thing. So I'll stream again this week for sure, because CLW, so Corey that I mentioned earlier, he's on hiatus for a couple of weeks while he sorts out some real-world stuff around the pandemic. So I'm stealing his slots in his chat. So I'll be live again tomorrow. It's just, yeah, today will be 6 out of 7, and tomorrow will be 7 out of 7. Well, I'm back at work tomorrow, so I have to, like, do a day of work first. Document sentiment result. Oh, look. So it's document sentiment. Document sentiment, yeah. And that's going to be client. Yeah, it's client.analyze sentiment. It's going to be asynchronous. We're going to pass it text. Here we go. So we're literally already saying to it, hey, go off asynchronously and analyze this text. So then we get that result back. And then what's it say to do? So that's just outputting the result. So console.writeLine is the same as console.log. It's just C#. And then it's doing, so for each sentence and sentences, write that stuff out. Yeah, whereas, what do we want to get back? So, this might be where we want to get back. So let's have a look what we get back, first of all. So, document sentiment dot. So you've got sentiment, and then, what is sentiment? Sentiment is, gets predicted sentiment, so it's a text sentiment, but what do we get back? Okay. This is where reading the actual docs might be helpful. So we've got, so this is the document sentiment that it got back. So that was the text. So we might be able to do, oh yeah, so you get back the confidence scores. So this is going to be similar to what I did previously in here, so we can have a look for reference. So we get back the response, which is a recognition result. Oh yes, we've got this down here. So that gets you back the documents and then errors, and that's a score and an ID. What do we do with that? So, well, yeah, so first of all, we'll just make sure that we actually get something back. So, 0.errors. Okay, so this is slightly different. So we can't necessarily, can follow the concept, but we've got this response, maps it into a score and an ID. Oh yeah, so document first will default. Okay, so this is, Yeah, so the recognition result, you're going to get back a score and an ID. So that will be positive, negative, neutral, whatever, with the score. So we can just get back the document sentiment, I think. Because if you look here, it's saying console.writeLine, document sentiment, get back the sentiment, and the document sentiment is positive. You can then break it down. It's just showing you what other values you can get back. So you can get back the sentence sentiment, the text. So if there's more than one sentence, so I guess we'd have to handle that later on, but make it work for now, then we'll improve it. So we'll just assume there's one sentence for now, or one thing to analyse. So we can just get back the document sentiment. So we can say that we want to return document sentiment dot sentiment dot string. That should work. Okay. No, there just needs to be an async task then. Async string. Oh, it'll be a task string, won't it? So it'll be a task of type string. There we go. So that will just return the sentiment. Pretty straightforward. Once we get that back, we can start to do stuff with it. So we can say, the view model. So we've got the result back now. So we can call it. So we can say, take off the breakpoints. So we can say var result. I know we can do a switch on it. So we can say, because we're going to want to handle the results differently. Yeah, task string, that's what I thought. Yeah, so switch. It's going to be text analyzer dot analyze sentiment text for analysis. And we're going to say that the case is, how's it going to come back? We've got positive, negative, or neutral. So we can say that in cases, positive. How to do case statements? Wow, my C#'s rusty. Oh, we can just grab it from here, can't we? That one. There we go. Oh, it has to be a wait, doesn't it? So just take these. If we pop these back in here, so that should be client. No, sorry, text analyzer. Got analyze sentiment. Oh yeah, so this transferred them into things, didn't it? So we'll just say where did we get sentiment from? That's a good point. Sentiment came from. What did that return previously? Oh, that's just text analytics stuff. Okay, we can just update that. That's fine. So we can just say that case is unknown. It should come back as a string now. And then we can say that that is normal. So we can run this code in a minute to see what we get back, but that should give us different responses. So it sets the result to be different words, and it sets the colours as well. And so again, that's what's being referred to in our XAML pages here. So we've got a label, which is a sentiment analysis result, and we also bind the text colour. So in a minute we can run this. So let's do it now. Let's see how this handles doing emulator development while I'm streaming. We didn't have much luck recently, but you never know. Let's check on Amazon. I just want to know when I need to do beer up back screen. Okay. Love you all. Would you look at that? It just worked. Boom! We've not even been live well, no. Well, I've been out live an hour and a half already, blimey. That's flown by. But boom, this is time for victory noises. Let's just check, I want to check my sound settings are right as well. That's the spirit, but it worked. Bizarre. So yeah, we have text analysis. So yeah, right, there's little things we want to do, like clear the box when you click the button. BBB is a horrible troll. He's not. BBB's lovely, but there you go. Boom. Just like that. See what I mean, White Panther? This was easy. What I had to do was bring in a NuGet package, chuck it the code to analyze, and then it came back with a response, and we just picked some colours for it. Group. I mean, that text is centered terribly, but it works. Meh. All right, that knows that's negative. Trees are green. It's not something neutral. I'm doing it once. See. Well, let's just update this code quickly. So, when the button is clicked, which will be on the view model for the text. When you click button, are you trying to poison White Panther C#? No. This library that we're using, Anton, is also supported by Python, Java, Node.js, and all sorts of things. So I want to have some fun with White Panther putting this sentiment analysis into Panther Ball, but it will all be Node.js. There'll be no there'll be no C#, promise. Ooh. I'm not going to suggest to someone that they use a library that's not in the language that they're comfortable with. That's not cool. What about when talking about vacuum cleaners that they suck really well? Okay, we'll test that in a sec, Marcus. I'm just going to update this. So when you click the button, then we'll say, first of all, that we are going to text for analysis, is that what we call it? Yeah, text for analysis equals empty string. Okay, should be able to save. Oh, it's a code change. It might need a restart. Yes, it's okay. But we can kick it off again. It doesn't take seconds to load. ignore that this is open. It will kill itself and restart when it reinstalls. There you go. Ooh, thinking about it. Cool. Okay. So we're saying vacuum cleaners suck up the dirt really well. What do we get back? Oh, it's negative. Okay. Let's do something positive. White panther should give powers to the ball. I don't know if it'll come back positive or negative. I wanted to check that this is actually updating. Obviously, it's calling the command because I'm hitting the button, but oh, there we go. It does work. Yeah. So obviously, this is all this analysis and sentiment that it's picking up is all based on, you know, millions of items of data that models have been trained on for us by Microsoft. So it can't detect sarcasm and stuff, but it's a good start. Like, it only took a few lines of code. I'm a sad panda. Yeah, so it does update. Nice. The only thing I'm going to do, which I'm going to do without stopping the app, just to prove that we can, is I don't like this. I'm going to make it black because I just think it's that placeholder text is a bit hard to read. Love people. Cool. I don't think that worked that time. So Xamarin does with XAML, which is also what this file type is, supports something called XAML hot reload. So when you update the XAML page and save it, it will automatically redeploy the changes to the page, so you don't even have to stop it. So it's just like watch in, you know, Node and stuff. But I have reported a problem that's been looked at the moment, but mine for some reason doesn't work half the time. It worked earlier, but it doesn't work half the time, and I randomly get these messages. So this isn't normally your experience, it's just my rotten luck. But that's better. Ooh, there we go. Nice. Well, that was easy. So we've done that bit. The other thing I'd quite like to do is, before we get up and stretch, is just quickly do the navigation bar. Bar. Sure, there's a navigation bar. There's an extra bar on the top that I don't want. If we look here, this is extra bar I don't want. That's okay, that's just being picky. I can come back to that. The UI might change anyway when I get my friend on to help me make it look better. So cool. So that's the sentiment side. Nice. So let's do our stretches. Take our wrists, our shoulders. Palms out to the sky for a nice big stretch. Oh, touch your toes. Oh. Neck still hurts. On Saturday, I managed to hurt my neck. You know, when you cricket, just all I was doing was walking down the stairs. I think I slept a bit funny anyway because my pillows need replacing, but yeah, I was walking down the stairs and I hurt it, and it's been a lot better since, but it's still a bit painful. But yeah, so if you weren't here at the beginning, we have a decision to make. So as you can see, this uses this whole menu thing with a couple of buttons, and one of the problems I want to solve is what we do with the buttons. So Cadillac Jack made a suggestion that we have tabs along the bottom you've got one like central button that's maybe a bit bigger, and then all that does is explain what the other functions do, and then have tabs either side. I'm not sure how easy it is to make bigger buttons, and so that might be quite difficult, but yeah, I just wanted to crowdsource some thoughts on if you were using this app, like what navigation layout you'd want, because neither analysing sentiment or analysing body language, they're just two functions of the app. It's not like one's more important than the other. So we just need to, I think of like a good way to lay it out, I guess. But we'll get there. We'll get there together. Let's just check good old Amazon. Just to make sure that I'm not going to get surprised by delivery. So, all right, 9 stops away. Okay, so we'll leave the buttons for now because it works. And we can always, it might change. Oh, excuse me. It's warm here. It might change when we make UI improvements. I'm not going to stress too much about it for now. But, you know, we've got the sentiment in, so now we need to do the body language, and that's the one that's going to get more interesting. Because for that we need to take a picture. We then need to like do stuff with it. So we're going to want to start doing the page. Let's start building the UI together. No, not that one. Views, that one. No, that one. There we go. So this is completely a blank slate at the moment. Nothing going on. Get rid of them. So the first thing we want to do is format this. You can normally do a M-Fractor is an extension that I've got installed. It's like a productivity plugin for Xamarin, and it's really helpful. It's what gives you like those color tooltips that you saw. But one of the things it normally gives you is the ability to format the page so that all of these are on separate lines. But first of all, it's going to be a stack layout. Is it going to be a stack layout? It's going to be a grid. Oh, that'd be a grid actually. Let's plan this out actually. Let's not try and be clever. Let's get up. Ooh. Okay. Fine. Whatever. So, what we want to do is what I've got in mind is let's do a rectangle first. So you'd have, this is the page, and you've got like a button here. You've got a picture here. You can fill that in. There we go. So we've got yeah, we've got what would be like a picture. So you'd click a button, it would bring up like the usual, because it's all, you know, native. It'll just bring up the platforms, take a picture stuff like the camera. Then once you've accepted the picture that you've taken, it would show the image here. Then it would have more stuff at the bottom that's whirring round that says like, yeah, it's busy. So we can actually grab this from the existing code because, as I said, I wanted to update this code, this app, to use the SDK and the latest packages and stuff, but a lot of the code is still reusable. So rather than reinventing the wheel, I'm just going to grab here's what I prepared earlier. So I have a old version. Oh, actually, let's commit this first because we've made changes. So CV projects. Just checking this one because there seems to be 2 folders with the same name. I want to make sure I'm in the right one. That's the one. Git status. Yeah, so the Android project's changed, the iOS project and stuff has changed because we brought in some NuGet packages. We've changed the XAML and the view model and that helper class. Yep, that's right. So we're happy to add everything for this. I agree with what White Panther said before about how git add doc can bring in stuff that you don't want, but I'm fairly happy that this should be alright. Git commit messages. We say that we added in text sentiment analysis using the SDK. Git push. Cool. Is that sorted? So we can just go back to here and we can say that we want views, analyze by language as well. No, that's a thing with Bobby and Bob. Look at twice. Well, that matters because it's old now. But we want the page. Okay, so we're going to neaten this up a bit. So we want a grid that has 3 rows, which is star auto. So you can see here, this is quite a messy definition. They've updated this in a newer Xamarin.Forms, so I can actually use that. So it's just star auto. So in our grid definition, we can say row definitions equals. I don't know where my IntelliSense has gone. That's okay. Auto. And then we start bringing in the bits and bobs. So we can bring in all of these because it will say, oh, like these properties don't exist, but thanks to mfractor, we can just tell it to make them. So save that first. So the first thing we need to do is just pop into the code behind. Oh no, I've already done it. So as you saw earlier, we're just saying that for the binding context, it'll be the view model, because by default it will look in itself for the binding context. It would look in here, but because we're using MVVM, we're just letting it know to look elsewhere. So if we just pop back in here, one of the things I want to add in is XML namespace iOS equals iOS. So the reason I'm adding in this very long iOS thing is because with the notch in iOS, so the notch is that thing there. With that notch, let's move over a bit. With that notch in iOS, if you don't set something called safe area insets, it will put your stuff behind the notch, so we just need to add it in. You can do it in the code behind or the XML, but I'm just going to do it in the XML because the XAML, sorry, because it just keeps it neater. So iOS, then it's going to be page safe, use safe area true. Oh, it'll be false. How do I do it in main page? Or menu page, sorry. Use safe area equals true. Yeah, there we go. Cool, so we set that up. So now we can go ahead and fix all this. So, generate a property, done. Think about it. Might take a minute because I'm streaming at the same time. see what's going on. Okay. So if we go to that, let's close all the other pages because we're just getting in a mess now. So let's close that, close that, close that, close that. There we go. Okay, so we have our page, and that's the code behind. Yep, okay. So we want the view model. So we wanted to say this is a image, so we're going to have a public. So we need to do the private one first. So private image. This is from Xamarin.Forms. Image for analysis. Oh, it's in the wrong place. Alright. Oops. Go here. It's better. Got image for analysis. What else have we got? Command. That's just, we don't need a private backend field for that. And that. Yep. So it's just those two. So we're going to want a public image for analysis. It's going to need a public getter, so that's going to be we're just going to return image for analysis, and then the set. So as you can see here, we're extending something called base view model. So this is part of a plugin called MVVM helpers. So as I mentioned earlier with data binding, there's all the stuff around iNotify property changed. So this base view model just only implements that iNotify property change stuff, so you don't have to worry about it. But it also handles some garbage collection as well. So this, we're about to call a value here, which comes from MVVM helpers. And it's just super useful because we don't have to faff around with any of the code handling stuff. We literally just say what we want to update and what the value is. So we're going to be updating image for analysis with value. Just like that. Then we wanted that command, so it'll be public I command. What do we call it? Analyze body language page view. Fix that in a minute. We call it that. Again, it's going to be Windows input. Just a get, we don't need a set. That's not what we wanted. We wanted to go back to different file. Oh, it's an image source, that's right. That's okay. Image source. There we go. Of course it is, because it's the source of the image. Okay, cool. So that's that problem solved. We've got that other command. So yeah, that's that one. Okay. So we've got take photo, and that's just a get. So a bit like with the text page, so we can have a look at the view model for that. We want to do check on Amazon. 6 stops away, we're right. Cool. So we want to do here we say text command, and then oh yeah, okay, so we do it like that. So So new command in the constructor. Okay, we can do that. So take photo and equals command async. Oh, no chat update. Right? It's not a good day for tech. That's okay. We'll get there. Nice. Okay, so it's going to be, and we're going to call. Here's what I stole earlier. As I said, some of this code is perfectly reusable. View models, and I body language view model. We just call it take photo. Okay, so it's just a private async task. Okay, you can steal that. So we're going to say that we're going to await take photo async. Gosh. Should do that. Okay, so now we need to take the photo. So this is where it starts to get a bit messier. A lot of the code in this class will actually be taking the photo itself and not doing stuff with it. But we can manage NuGet packages. We want so this is just do plugin. Where is it? Oh, there you go, Sam.media plugin, that's what we want. 2.4 million downloads. Impressive. Let's just add it to every platform. So yeah, so this essentially throws up some instructions to follow. So we'll let that install the packages that's just happening up here, and then we'll go through and follow it. But it's just talking about the bits you just need to do some setup. So that's fine. Essentials is all. Oh, there's a typo in that. I should submit here. So in our so that's fine. We've done that bit. So essentials is already initialized, and then in the on request permissions result. That will be in Android main activity, I think. We'll see how we go. So there you go, they're added successfully. So if we pop into Android's main activity, okay, so this is already there. So we've got on request permissions. So we've done the Xamarin Essentials part. And then, okay, so this bit's already done because Essentials is now part of the project. So that saves us some work. Okay, we just need to do some Android stuff to make it work. So this is all just to do with, like, you know, security and stuff. You just have to make sure that it's set up to be like, oh yeah, you know, this is okay. So in Android, you have a Android manifest file. edit will do. So this will look ugly because it's a text editor, but essentially what it was saying to do was between the application tags. Is that application it said? Add the following to your Android inside the application manifest tags. Yep, so they are, it's hard to tell on here, but they are here. So we can just do that. Paste that in. Cool, that should be okay. And then we need to, in resources folder, add a new folder called XML. So not every library makes you have to do steps like this. It's just depending on what the developers have to do to make it work. And then add a file, which is file_paths. And then it says to add the following code, like so. There we go. So that sets up that stuff. You don't have to worry too much about what it's doing. It's just setting up some references in Android to where it will find things, because you can also pick from your gallery. I'm just choosing to stick to taking a picture for now, but you can do, you know, videos or whatever. You might want to do videos for this, but this plugin supports, you know, videos from taking them to the gallery, same as pictures. So we've done that bit. Okay, so now we need to update the info plist. Some of these things will be excessive because we're not doing it, but again, we go into, so rather than Android this time, we want iOS. And this is in info.plist. So if we open this with Xcode, that'll do. I just want something. So this is just the one thing that annoys me, and I'm hoping it will change in Visual Studio for Mac one day, is that with these plist files and also the Android manifest, none of the options for what you can open it in inside Visual Studio for Mac support just seeing. See, I don't want this. I want the actual, like, files just to be edited. Try it. Oh no, not Xcode, I just tried that. Maybe text edit. Copy list editor. Yeah, see, this is just mad. So we have to literally open this in code. Just to add these pieces in. Oh no, it's iOS. There we go. So yeah, literally, we just need to add some strings at the end, because these are all the permissions that the app might ask you for, and also the flavor text that it will display, so that you can know what it's for. So yeah, so in this case, if it's asking for camera usage, then it will say to you that the app needs access to take photos. So it's just giving your users some context as to what the purpose is, why you're asking for these things. So some of these it might not need, but it never hurts to have them in. So we've done that bit. So we don't need to do UWP or Tizen, so we should be good to go. Nice. So now we actually need to take the picture slowly but surely. So if we have a look at the existing code, so let's take a photo. Oh, is busy? Where is busy come from? Busy. Ah, okay. It's at the bottom. Why is it at the bottom? That's okay. We can sort that out. So this should be before any private methods. do it up here. Private pool is busy. False by default. So that's cool. So we've got that going. So we can say, first of all, it's going to try because stuff can break. So try is busy equals true because we're in the middle of something. So because we set it is busy equal true, you would have seen that we referenced it in our page. So this is visible is bound to that property. So essentially what we're saying is that we want this grid to appear but with a spinner activity indicator, but only if only if you're actually trying to do something. So in this instance, we're trying to analyze the picture. So it's basically just letting you know that it's thinking about it. So we're saying it is busy equals true. Yeah, so we need photo. Where'd photo come from? Photo. Okay. Photo. That's that one. Photo. It's media file. Okay. Okay. It's a stream image source, not an image source. We can change that. So this is a stream source, and this is stream image source. I know it can sometimes take a bit longer to copy and paste code like this, but I just think it's no point reinventing the wheel. We might as well just work through it bit by bit and take the bits that we want. And we've also got a media file. So media file. Okay. Oh, we need to bring the plugin in, don't we? Oh no, maybe not. It's just referencing the using, isn't it? So first of all, we're going to say that photo equals take photo. Dot media dot abstractions dot take camera device. Oh, current media cross media dot current dot take photo async. There we go. And we're going to give it some store camera. So store camera media options gives us some different things that we can do with the picture that's created. So in our case, we want it to be a photo size equals photo size dot small. Otherwise, the picture's massive. Oh, we need wait. Cool. So that takes the picture, and then we can change that to actually do something with the picture. So if we do catch here, section X, I'm going to say main application dot current dot main page dot display alert. So this sounds long-winded, but we're just displaying an alert that says error added error photo plus X dot sig. Oh yeah. We're taking the picture. Okay, there we go. This call is awaited. Execution of the current method continues before the call is completed. Yeah, I suppose we should wait for that. Cool. So that catches the exceptions. So now we can say that our image for analysis equals stream image source photo dot get stream with image rotated for external storage. Is that right? Oh, so it's image source dot from stream equals photo dot from stream. No, that's not right. So this is image source dot from stream. Oh, is it actually? Oh no, we put it image source. So it's what our okay, what's going on? Let's see. So image source. Oh, it'll be actual image source as in the Xamarin.Forms thing. So it'll be image source dot from stream. So then it'll be photo dot get stream. There we go. So that will get that image so that we can then make it display on the page. So that's a good start. And now this is when we start using the face client. Now I know that this is updated since, so this is going to be good old docs. So still going to be Conquer Services, but this time it's going to be under computer vision. Detect objects, use contains detect faces. Tap today, emotion, cognitive services. Received emotion recognition. Ah, so it's part of the face attributes, okay? There's a good old docs. Docs, please. Read our documentation, there we go. So here we go. Using the .NET SDK, yes please. Recognize. Yeah, it's not recognize faces, it's detect faces. Use. I don't want a quick tutorial actually, we want a. Okay, so we've done all this. We don't need to do that. We need. That's equated. We need the Azure vision.face, okay. Have a look. Let's go back to our old pal. You get package manager. Vision. Computer vision, that's the one. That's by Microsoft, yep. add that. What else does it say to do? So that's just got the that's okay, we can ignore that because we can just get them out of the Azure Keys file. Is that the right? Dependencies, you get. Says computer vision. Might need to change packages. Yes, it even says here it's available as a package, so we can remove that in a sec. So let's find the right one. It must be right. Okay, we can work this out. So that's added those packages in. So we'll assume it's already there. So we've got. Okay, so the first thing we need is a face client, so that is right. So we can. There's our old power face client. Oh, we call it face finder, okay. We can do the same here. Private face finder. Done. Using Microsoft.secure.services.vision.computervision. Right, let's just do it from the package manager console because let's see. You get this is in face, so it must exist. Where are we going wrong? See what. Oop. So it's Microsoft.Azure.cognitive services. Computer vision. Face. What is it called? Ah, it's in preview, that might be why it's not showing up. To the box. There we go. Lesson learned. Cool. So, bring that in. Package, get all of our projects. Then we need to get rid of the ones we don't actually want anymore. Computer vision, we do not need that. Uninstall package. Bye. Get in the wrong place. Not even the wrong place, it's just the wrong thingamabob. Yep, bring that in, please. I'm going to put it in here. Put something weird. Why don't we put face finder? I'm going to put it face client. Makes more sense to me. Face finder. Let's get out of face client. Face client. Face finder. What does it take? New API. Just give it a sec. Oof. How is everyone? So we can fix this first of all. Using Microsoft.Services.Vision.Face. Face finder, so if it's private face. Oh, yeah, it's a face client, isn't it? Face client. Face client. Face client. And that takes a new API key credentials. And that is going to be Azure keys. Import that. The keys dot description key. So that's going to be our face API key. So that's set up. Nice. There we go. So that's our face client set up. So that's a start. What else do we need? This client represents your authorization, yep. Use it to produce instances of other classes, okay. But where's the tutorial? Authenticate part, okay. Oh, okay. So then also pass it an endpoint. You can work with that. And keys dot key close. There we go. we've done that bit. So now, saying detect faces in the image, okay. Okay, the next block of code, the detect face extract, detects faces in 3 of the images. Oh, right, okay, we don't have to worry about URLs, but we just need to say. So we need to make a list of detected faces, okay. What are we doing here? We're saying yes. Let's do it as if okay. Let's do this. Might as well reuse the code. I don't know if that's right though. You want a list of faces, okay. List detected faces. Faces. And then we say detect faces with all attributes. Okay, so that's what we want because we're not specifying that we care specifically about one possible emotion. We want to get them all back. So faces equals await client face. And in this instance, the client is face client. Okay, face finder, face client, face client dot face dot detect the stream async. And that's going to take image. So that's going to be image for analysis. That's going to be stream. Stream. What else does it take? Well, welcome, Damnable Bear. It's nice to have you. Welcome to the fun. So what we're doing at the moment is implementing, sending a photo to the Microsoft face, like cognitive services face library that should come back and tell us the sentiment in the face, like the emotion of the person in the photo. What are you working on? Tell me all about it. Emotion, there we go. So this takes, so we've given it the image and face attributes, so that's going to be just going to be face attributes dot face face attributes. Oh, face attribute type, face attribute type dot emotion, because that's all we care about. There's lots of other things that you can get back from the face client, as you can see, but we want to know about more than that. Don't know how much you actually want to know, but I work for a contracting company that helps implement and customize municipal related software in 4 countries. And right now I'm working on updating the properties of an 82 status long workflow diagram for a public facilities record. Ooh. Rather you than me, Daniel Bear, rather you than me. How's it going though? So that's the types you want to get back, and then the recognition mode. How's the recognition mode? Recognition. Coming from somewhere. Bare minimum. How it's going. I find it relaxing when I can just pull something and chew on it for a while. Yeah, I think that works for a lot of people. I think, I'm not sure if she's still watching, but I was having a similar conversation with White Panther the other day. No, it wasn't the other day. She was saying this on stream earlier, I think, that sometimes it's just nice to do a repetitive task. You know, whether it's on stream or off stream, it's just nice to do a repetitive task sometimes that doesn't take too much energy. It's just kind of a nice rhythm that gives you a bit of confidence that you know what you're doing. So this takes the image. Okay, so we need to specify that this is the term face attributes. Not convert from face attribute type to list. Okay, so it definitely needs a list. Fine. Convert generic list to generic high list. Oh, list. This actually types optional. Okay, there we go. Nice. Okay, so the only one from the enum that we care about is the emotion. Yeah, I definitely can sympathise with that, not feeling overly ambitious today, so it's working for me. Yeah, sometimes we just need days like that, don't we? I mean, I was streaming, when was it? Last Sunday, I think it was? And, like, I just wanted a nice easy win. So all I was doing was going through, I think it was 34 different markdown files with some YAML front matter at the top, deleting something from the front matter or adding something to it. I can't remember which it was. But yeah, that was a very repetitive task. But sometimes it's just nice to kind of have those wins, isn't it? Oof. Okay, so we've got that back. That's nice. So that gives us the emotion in the faces. So then we can say if faces dot have zero. That's actually true faces. Okay. So that's that done. I guess we don't use it anymore. Okay. So, check on Amazon. One stop away. Woo! So that's saying get the faces back. So we've got a list of faces back now. Because faces is so we get one back. It's the face attributes. We're using this. So we're saying if you get anything back, then move to a new image page. Yeah, so that's what we want, because we want to say essentially like if that we want to move to a new page to display the results because it's just a nicer experience. So we can add another page, add new file, and this is going to be a form XAML page. We can steal the XML for that as well because it's not very different. So if we then go into the XAML, so let's make a view model first. View file, general class. This is going to be analyze image. That's about analyze image result page view model. Face view model. And BDM helpers. There we go. We want an analyzed photo. So we're going to want a public stream image source. Analyzed photo. Analyzed photo. So this is going to return our analyzed photo. I'm going to set it to set property. Analyzed photo value. And it's got a description. Public description. Ooh, we have an event. Ooh, AVH4 is raiding with a party of 30. Welcome everyone. Woohoo! Thanks for the raid. How did your stream go? What did you learn today? It's good. You? We've been doing well. So for those that have just joined, I'll just quickly make this property and then I'll explain what we've been working on. Description. Nope. Property. Description. Explaining the sec promise. Description. Stream was okay. We got distracted by a lot of topics. I was trying to do some Haskell work on a code formatter. Oof. It's heavy. But we learned about why strings are called strings, how to make tasty salads, and lots of other versions. That sounds great. Why are strings called strings? Other than it's a string of characters. Educate us, AVH. Why are strings called strings? So those that have just joined, just a quick update on what we're doing. So I do use it in real life, but it originally was developed as well as a demo talk app. So it uses Xamarin, which is a cross-platform app development framework now owned by Microsoft. So it's just a thin C, like .NET wrappers around the native SDKs and tooling, but it's a really great way of just writing code once and deploying everywhere or anywhere. It supports all sorts of things from mobile phones to desktops to like watches and TVs and fridges and all that stuff. But yeah, so this app it's written in Xamarin, which is what we're working on here. And then it calls into Microsoft's Cognitive Services, which is their AI and machine learning cloud service. And it allows us to analyze sentiment in text or analyze emotions in faces. So we previously did the sentiment on stream earlier this evening. So if we put something like "love you all," it'll go off and it'll think about it. It'll come back and it will say, it should work. It's taking longer than usual. Thinking about it. I am streaming as well, to be fair, so it will take longer. But yeah, essentially it goes off and it analyzes the sentiment and will tell you whether it's positive or negative. All right, we'll come back to that. But so we've done the sentiment analysis side, so I'll just show you it running. And then what we're working on now is the emotion sentiment side. Emotion analysis. So we've written the code to take a picture, and now we've written the code to send that picture off to the Faces API, SDK, whatever you want to call it, to analyze the picture, and now we're just processing what you get back. So if we analyze sentiment again, love you all. Woo! There we go. Oh, well, thanks for dropping by, AVH. Have a great lunchtime, and thank you for the raid. It is fun. Like, the text side is fun, because obviously you can make it do fun like that, which obviously is just my sense of humour. But, yeah, it's cool stuff. But the face stuff is fun. But I think we're going to have to BRB because I'm getting a delivery. So I'm just going to switch scenes and I will be right back when I've got my Amazon delivery. And we're back with a package. Da-da-da! This package, if you weren't here earlier, is a Thunderbolt 3 dock. Da-da-da! Because I was using this Dell D6000 USB-C dock, and it's one I got from work because it's what we have for all our Dell laptops at work, and because it's USB-C it does work with my MacBook, but the D and D6000 actually stands for DisplayLink, so it was using DisplayLink drivers and DisplayLink to do everything, which the way DisplayLink works, as I learnt this morning, hence the buying a new dock this morning, is that it uses your CPU and your GPU to compress the video down, to transmit it down USB. Then the dock decompresses it. But basically doing that compression with my CPU and GPU while streaming and doing stuff with emulators was causing my laptop to melt and die. And it was just having kernel panics, like, not constantly, but pretty often, including while I was trying to stream. So I've ditched this in exchange for a Thunderbolt 3 dock. But what I like about this dock is it's got the Titan Ridge chip in it, which essentially means that not only does it support Thunderbolt 3, but it supports USB-C as well. So I won't have to kind of have two docks plugged in and just switch over depending on which laptop I'm using. This dock will work for my MacBook and my work laptop. So that's all very exciting. But it's, it's a good start. We've got the dock. I'll set it up after stream. We're not going to go on for that much longer. I just want to get this photo stuff done if I can. So we've analysed the sentiment, as said, and now we're doing the body language stuff. So at the moment it's just got one button. This won't work. There you go. So this is erroring because simulators don't support taking a picture, so we'll hook my phone up in a minute. But it's a good start. But anyway, we haven't got to that point yet. We need to actually get it to handle stuff first. So let's just stop that. So we're saying that there's going to be some properties called description and analyze photo that we're going to use in here. So that's the layout of the page sorted out. It's in a scroll view, just in case you need to move to read the text. But what we're going to say, so we're going back to the good old-fashioned instructions. We're reading the docs. So this is saying emotion type. Okay, so we can go back to what we were working on with the pre-existing code in here. which says if it has any faces. Yes, that's what we want. Okay. So if we go into our page here, if there are any faces, then new image, analyze image result page. What do we call it? Analyze image result page. Oh, is it just missing a user? Yes. Analyze image result page, and then it's an image result. Analyze image result page view model. And then that's upset because none of this doesn't have a constructor that takes the photos. This is going to be photo, and I guess it'll be the list of faces, right? Yes. We have that as a enumerable detected face. Oh, it's a media file. Okay. Why is it a media file? We'll fix that. Okay, so in our view model, it's going to be enumerable list. Face. What? That's going to be faces. Is that unhappy? Oh. Collections. Okay. So that takes, got the list of faces back, and we've got the photo. So we will say that let's have a look. So Corey's given us a Y string is called string. Let's have a look. Okay, so we've got to do a bit of history. So the word font is derived from the French font, something that has been melted. Yeah. Given that letters for printing presses were literally made of metal smelted at type foundries, that makes sense. Okay. The terms uppercase and lowercase refer to the literal part of the case in which the font was transported. So the printer had a heavy case he lugged around or had set up a printing press. And in this case were two levels, an uppercase and a lowercase. The uppercase contained only, you guessed it, uppercase letters. Okay, that makes sense. And obviously lowercase is lowercase. So as printing became more mainstream and printing presses began offering their services to individuals, not just newspapers and publishers, it said that they decided to charge based on the length of the printed material, the length in feet. A lot of this is speculative, but if they strung together the produced printed material, they could easily estimate the cost and bill customers. Ah, okay, yeah, so that's why a string is a sequence of characters. Ah, and they use an actual string to tie the character blocks together when doing this. And that's why it's called a string, okay. Okay. What else we got? Well, that's cool. Okay, so essentially a string is called a string because back in there, they would join the characters together with a string. Come up with that. So we've got all these emotions that we can get back, but we'll do that once we're into the result page. Get emotions, yes. You can steal this. This is just a private method. Link. Cool. That's a description. That's the image source. Oh, so we all just do it in here. So analyzed photo equals photo. Far. We got multiple. So we've got analyzed photo and image source. We'll get to why that's happening in a minute. I don't know is the honest answer, so I'm not going to just copy and paste it blindly. I'm going to work out, step through it until we get to the point where it's like, oh, that's why. So var emotions equals faces dot select face get. I'm going to tell us how to go. Get emotion face. Okay. And then we can. I don't know why we do it like that. So. Yeah, so we're basically saying that the most likely emotion, we actually get the name with a score of the number, so we get back some actual info. So that's straightforward enough. Eleventy works for C#. No, this shouldn't be 11T. I updated the title. Is it not updated? I updated it before the stream started. This isn't 11T. This is we're doing mobile app, analyzing emotions and faces in a picture. Should be show track and code updating. But no, 11T is C#, JavaScript, isn't it? Is my title not updated? Should have done. My channel. Oh, it's not updated, for God's sake. Updating body. No, it doesn't surprise me because I spotted that earlier on my dashboard and I thought it was weird. But I genuinely ran the command to update the title before I started. Oh, I know what it will be. I set the title in Stream Deck and it would have overwritten it. Oh, there's a BodyLanguaAssistant. Machine learning. Xamarin.Forms app. There we go. Thanks for letting me know, Ryan. Also, welcome. Great to see you. That's my own fault. I only got the Stream Deck Mini. I've only streamed a handful of times since I bought the Stream Deck Mini. So I've set it up for live stream. I just completely forgot that I have to update the stream title every time I go live. So I updated it, but then it does the same when I click the go live button, and so it overwrote what I changed earlier. So thanks for letting me know. No, this is absolutely nothing to do with 11T. This is a mobile app. So I've got all that in. Yeah. Hey, you're famous though, because you made a guest appearance the other day. I'm pretty useless at helping White Panther because she doesn't write languages I know. I just turn up because she and the chat are awesome. So in here, there we go. It doesn't like that. Oops. How do you want to do it? Photo. Photo display equals. How do you like 11T? I'm hacking together a static site generator. I actually like it, you know. I've only stopped because, once we've done this, I'll show you. But essentially, I'm at that stage now where I just need the site to look better and also to add responsiveness. So I've done what I need to do with 11T. It's all set up and working beautifully for now. You know, it generates the HTML from the markdown files and stuff. And so, yeah, I'm just on to the design part that I'm rubbish at. So now that I've hopefully avoided my dock problems and so I can actually do mobile development on stream again, I just thought people would like to watch me update this app because it's pretty cool. I mean, this Body Language Assistant actually got featured in a Microsoft open source newsletter recently. So, like, eventually this will look better, have more functionality, end up on the App Store and stuff. So I just wanted to rewrite it with, like, up-to-date packages and stuff. Photo. Stream. Stuff. Okay. Oh. Okay. Ryan, what made you want to make your own static site generator? Like, I know everyone has their reasons. So, like, you know, I don't know the story behind, you know, like Hugo and Jekyll and stuff, but yeah. That's really cool. I used to do C# at my first job out of college, but haven't played around with mobile app development at all. It's super fun. Like, a lot of this is, there's not many lines of code. But what I really like is that this app, I've already written the code and it was only a few lines really, is this app already does sentiment analysis of text. So that's using an SDK, but there's a library for it in JavaScript. And so I totally want to bring this into PantherBot because I reckon that we could analyze the sentiment of the questions being asked, then categorize the answers into like serious, jokey, unknown, and all that stuff. And based on the sentiment of the question being asked, pick a random answer from that category. So, yeah, I'm slowly trying to convince White Panther to let me do it. Well, I say convince. It shouldn't take any convincing because she's awesome. She's just like, yeah, do it. Come be a guest. I just don't quite know when it will be. But as a man who knows PantherBot well, not PantherBot, PantherBall even. It's been a long day. But yes, PantherBall. I reckon that PantherBall is screaming out for a bit of AI, just for a bit of fun. So that should set the faces over. So that should work now. So we can stick my phone on Wi-Fi. It's time to play around. Let's do it. Okay. There we go. This is my phone. Don't worry, I'll share the screen in a sec. What do you write? What languages do you write these days, Ryan? Obviously, I assume Node, like JavaScript, Node, because you helped out White Panther, but you never know. Just wait for this. No. I Thinking about it. It always takes a minute the first time it deploys to a new device. I'm a huge fan of this web development language called Elm, which provides really friendly error messages. Also, Elm doesn't crash in production because it has a really reliable type system, null or anything. Basically, the goal for the static site generator brings all the benefits of Elm to a markdown. You just write markdown content and the tool lets you know if you're missing any required front metadata. Oh, nice. That's really cool. I know Elm. So, Elm was the inspiration for a F# library by Don Syme called Elmish. But what he did was he's actually still, I think he still does, is on works for Microsoft. And so Xamarin.Forms that we're using here, which is like the Xamarin's cross-platform UI as well. So not only do you share the business logic, but you can just write the UI once as well. And so not only does Xamarin support C#, but it supports F# as well. And it supports F# out of the box. It's just out of the box, F# and Xamarin.Forms is a bit icky. So Don Syme built a library called Elmish for Xamarin.Forms, which is now called Fabulous, which actually allows you to have that Elm style with F# in your Xamarin.Forms applications. If you're interested, Ryan, I'll show you. I've got a counter app that I wrote in F# that uses Fabulous. But the only thing that would make you cringe a little bit is that the way Fabulous works is it allows you to either write half Fabulous or like full Fabulous. So half Fabulous just means it supports more object-oriented paradigms. So it's really interesting stuff, and it makes it a bit more approachable, but it just won't be nicely functional. I'd love to learn F# because right now I still write Node.js on the back end. Do it. That's a good excuse to stream, really, because you've already got a little adopted family from our community, and so we'll all come and support you. No one's going to judge. Learn together. Getting there. Promise it doesn't always take this long to deploy. You can watch it at the top. Make sure the sector's running. Oh, it's time to stand up and stretch. Okay. There we go. Come on. Thinking about it. Oh, there we go. 7711. Any minute now. There we go. I'll just wait for this. Now I need to see what I was doing. Thinking about it. Should take over in a sec. Does this work? It might be like, can't find the phone. Or is it just, there you go. Cool. So we can allow that. So this is the app running on my phone live, so we can take a picture. Okay, so it's the first time it's running, it's asking for permissions. Take a silly photo. Because you don't take yourself seriously. Use this photo. It's looking for faces. Okay, it's got the picture but not a result. But that's okay, we can debug that. So, let's just stop this a sec. Move this over here. Don't need it right now. Cool, isn't it? So, let's have a look when it's not. Let's just put a breakpoint in there. and see what's going on. There you go, much quicker. Just first time build. Think about it. Taking so long. Let me take this one. Oof. Good. There we go. Let's take a picture. My desk is a mess. Look at the phases. Should hit the break point. It's not. Why is it not hitting the break point? Okay. Oh, that never deployed properly yet. Okay. Let's kill that. Okay, let's run this again. We will get to the bottom of this. I just want to see if we're actually getting any data back to start with. Okay. Waiting for the debugger to connect. Okay. So that's connected. Is this VS for Mac? Yes, it is. Oof. Oof. Oh, for God's sake. It's got to at least deploy the right version. Blurry, but that's okay. So it found faces, we just need to get the debugger to work. Move it out of the way again. We might have to cable this. It might just be a bit flaky. Yeah. Pop this in. Let's just plug this cable in somewhere. Come on. There we go. So that's connected with a cable now. So we should get better debugging support, but we'll see. Hopefully we'll be able to cheer in a minute. Report great success. Into the files. Thinking about it. I think it treats it differently when it's I think it treats it differently, like a different of those. If it's a around, so it's good for some people, but new features will only be available if someone actually writes the code to make it available, whereas because it's just in the background, do like iOS 14 stuff about before, when betas are available. They've already got the preview channel support for iOS 14. Like, it's just one language that's pulsing for business logic. So this email that I'm going to just email, and then for you, I can either write you on code C# or you can use XAML, which is like this application markup language. It's markup language like HTML. But I feel like I'd avoid any web-based mobile things. I think if you're going to develop an app, at least do it as close to native as you can. So Xamarin is literally the native. It's just a wrapper. So once you compile and build the application, all of the tools used are identical to if you're doing it natively. So you can still share the code across the platforms, but for God's sake, if I killed it trying to do what I was doing. Oops. Too much. Try and refresh, Ryan, and see if it helps. I feel like I need 2 computers to be a Twitch streamer. This stuff is so resource heavy. Yep. I'd have multiple devices if I could. It's just expense, isn't it? Like, I've got an old computer, but with from my experience, it just couldn't handle it. Okay. So yeah, like I've got a USB capture card, but it might just be that some tweaks needed making. But I found that my PC that I built like 8 years ago, nearly 9, I found that it just couldn't handle it. Like I would be doing stuff on the Mac, and it would show that it was connected to the Mac, but the UI, the page would never actually update with what I was doing. Okay. How are we going to do this? Camel Boy, I feel like I need a second computer just to watch Twitch. Yeah. Looks fixed now. Oh, nice, cool. Yeah. So I'm connected. What's the So I feel like this might be where we're getting caught out. Hey, Grumps. Nice to see you. So you've come at the right time, Gramps. We're facing issues that might throw us off what we're trying to achieve today. I'll show you where we're up to in a sec, but yeah. I've got problems with connecting to my phone, but we kind of need the phone to take the pictures. So I'll just show you what we've got so far on a simulator. Go. So yeah, basically, I mentioned this much early on in the stream, but I've got issues at the moment where, as you can see, I get random messages telling me that the connection's been lost. I have reported it as an issue, so at some point it will get fixed. But at the moment, I don't think we're going to be able to connect to my phone long enough to do this. I might try closing and reopening Visual Studio, but come on. Thinking about it. Okay, so yeah, so this is Body Language Assistant, Grump. So it's an app that I wrote in Xamarin with Microsoft Cognitive Services. So we can just give it some text to analyze. Love you all. And it will go off and analyze it, and it should come back and say, there we go, woo, positive. So that's analysed what I said and realised it said something nice. What can we say? Pandemics are terrible. So if we analyse the sentiment like that, there we go, boom. Looks like a job for ... picking something else to do. Yes, well, I've been streaming for 3 hours already, so I might, like, now that people are actually active and chat again, I might sit with you guys for a bit and we'll have a look at some other stuff, like what I want to do with my Leventy blog. But in terms of this app, I might just have to wait until my problem's fixed. But yeah, so we've got sentiment analysis built in. It's alright, Grumps, everyone's always on a severe delay. And then for body language, you can take a picture and it will go off and analyse the picture. This won't work because you can't take photos with the simulator. Downward Bear, how complex is the text analysis? It is not. So I can take you through it. So if we have a look at the so the text page itself is just that label that you saw, the editor box with the background colour stiff. It's like, that's the background colour so that you can see it. Text and data binding so that we've actually got that text available to be used it later on. A button to click and then the label with the result. Ryan saying, what if you say negative noun is positive adjective? Okay, we'll get to that. Have you got any sentences in mind, Ryan? I'll just explain this to Downward Bear and then we'll give it a go. So, ignore this. This is, we want, go. So, we have some properties in here, which is what the data binding is referring to. But in terms of the analysis, the text analysis, we grab the text for translating, then we go into text analyzer, just ask it to analyze the sentiment and then do a switch statement on the result. So if we go into that, there we go. So we set up the text analytics client, passing it in the things it needs to do. So like we've got the credentials. So you need because it's an Azure service, which is Microsoft's cloud platform. You know, you have to pay for it. Now, up to 5,000 calls a month with this is completely free, so it's not costing anything. But you just need to provide it with an API key and an endpoint to call. So that's just knowing what region you're in. And then we set up that client, passing in those details. And then we literally, built into the client, is analyze the sentiment and we send it the text. And then we just grab what the sentiment is and return it, and boom, just like that. So we're talking, what, 5 lines of code, if that, 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. 5 lines of code. So hopefully that answers your how complex is it downloadable, because it's not. Okay, so let's run this again, and we'll do the text analysis. We'll do the sentiment analysis on pain is lovely, and also what if dog was spelled cat. Give it a go and see. Oh, that's not good. Oh, I think we should see it as thinking about its life. Click that. Click that. Let's save that. That was just me doing a diagram. Ryan has joined the battle. Woo! Thanks for the follow, my friend. Most of the time we'll be doing 11T. I just sorry, Dan Warbble. Yeah, so what I meant was more the number of analyses or cases you were doing, but right now it looks like it's just 4. Yes. So this is limited by what sentiments are available. I think that because it's quite generic, it's either going to be positive, negative, neutral, or unknown. What if dog was spelled C-A-T? Think about it. I think my internet's being a bit iffy, so it might take a minute. Right, can't do that one. Yeah, I think my laptop's a bit like. As you saw before, it's normally quicker than that, so I don't know what it's doing. Let's just stop it. We don't need it running right now. We just need that. Let's put that. There we go. Bye. Yeah, as you can see, it's a bit flaky. But that's okay. That's been looked at. But we'll try again. Okay, let's try pain is lovely. This is probably going to come back positive, you know. Yeah, there you go, see? Now, don't worry, Grumps, you didn't. It's because my internet's like... My internet's alright, it's just it's not great at the best of times while I'm also streaming. But it's worth it. But there we go. So pain is lovely is alright. Rip cat dog. What if dog was spelled C-A-T? Congratulations, you have no emotions whatsoever. I like that. Okay, that one thinks it's positive. Emotions are often overrated. There we go. That's negative. Love is painful, okay. Love is painful. That's positive. Okay, so it's not perfect. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's just it's what Microsoft has trained it on. I mean, I guess you could train your own models, I guess, but it's just more work and it's probably necessary. And it's kind of funny that it thinks that love is painful is positive. Yeah, so that's something, right? So I'm gonna close Visual Studio and reopen it, and I'm hoping that the debugger nonsense will fix itself. Because it'd be cool if we could actually take the picture and see what's happening. Rainbow. It's not rainbow, it's beach ball. Beach ball. Close that. At least it's consistent about pain, love, combos. This is true, yeah. Inaccurate, but consistent. It's bearing a certain resemblance to panther. Ah, well, it's interesting you mentioned that, Grumps. I'm not sure if you were here for this, but one of the things that I've been saying to White Panther is that I reckon that we should stick this sentiment analysis into Panther Ball, because we could categorise the answers and then we could analyse the sentiment of the questions and then pick a random answer from the appropriate category. What do we reckon? Rainbows hate kittens. Right, we'll try that in a sec. I do want to try the taking the picture part, because obviously it takes the picture, but it's just deciding not to play ball when it comes to analysing the photo. Pun unintended. Rainbows hate kittens. Ooh, I have a rainbow. Get Apple Watch on. Rainbow. Ooh, no, all right. There we go. Rainbow. Can't see it very well. Okay. So I want it to hit breakpoint. So you hit. Maybe. Hold on. Never hit that breakpoint. But I thought Panther Ball needs to be random. If it's influenced by sentiment, the game is rigged. Camera is 2 HD, pixel overload. Oh, geez. Something tells me that this might be time to end the stream soon because everything's falling apart. It was like White Panther's beautiful pixel art yesterday. Too many megapixels. Yeah. There. Switch to a Nokia flip phone. Which one do you want? Too much going on, no, not that one. That one. Let's try that. So I'll deploy it to my phone first, and then if it decides it wants to work, I will share the screen. Give it a sec. I have an old Nokia Windows phone. Does that count? I haven't done for years, but when I was a graduate and then for the few months afterwards and I still work for the company, we were given work phones. So I had an old Windows phone, which I think ran Windows Phone 8. And then I got a newer version, which was Windows Phone 8.1, I think. But I also discovered how you could get it updated to Windows Phone 10. Okay, so it's still connected to my phone for now. Okay. What's it doing? What's going on? Oh, the page is completely non-responsive. What's it thinking about? It counts. Yay! I've not charged it up, but it will still work probably. Although I have a feeling that the reason I got a new phone is because that didn't work. Oh, I don't know. I'll have to charge it up and see if it works. So right now, it's frozen. The video looks very delayed on OBS. Something tells me it just doesn't want us to do this today. 200% nice. It says my CPU usage is only at 24 according to OBS. Yeah. I want to know what's happening. Okay, so that cut out. That's okay. We can try it again. If this doesn't work, I'm officially giving up on this photo part until I solve my debugger problems. I also don't think it helps my version of iOS technically is iOS 14 beta 5. And this, I haven't updated Xcode to Xcode 12. So I'm surprised it's even working, but we'll roll with it. Ooh. Okay, crash. Why did it crash? Flip that table. I'll give it one more go and then I officially call this a write-off. I'll fix it. I'll get the debug problem fixed and then I'll stream this again. So when I open the app on my phone, it knows that it's connecting because it no longer says it's waiting for it. And you get the stop sign. I'm not quite sure my computer can handle its life right now. No, it just crashes. Time to scratch. Okay. Time to stretch. Move back a bit. Shake my wrists. So yeah, so it's obviously a dead end today, but in what should happen, and I should have the older app one here to show you. That one. There we go. So, just stretch it out and then I'll show you. So, shoulders, arms forward and up. Big circle. Now take a picture. So this is the old version of the app. Some of the stand up and do the hustle. Woo. I mean, we can do kind of like a body pop. There you go. It's not the hustle, but it'll do. But yeah, so this is the old app. So let me do that. So yeah, so basically the old app is 2 years old. So it works okay. It's just some of the ways of doing things with the face recognition has changed. And packages have updated and the text analysis now has an SDK and stuff. So this is a working copy. It's just not the code that I want to demo anymore. So, but at least I've got this on here to show you what's supposed to happen. So if we analyze body language, come on. Oh, disconnected. Oops. Try again. Video recording from Lisa's iPhone. going to be facing the floor. That's okay. What? This cable's so temperamental. Or a pop and lock routine, whichever. You get all sorts on this stream. There we go. There we go. So if we take a photo, switch it round, use a photo, boom, there you go. Most likely emotion is surprise with a score of 0.518. So that all that's saying is that, yeah, like there's a 51.8% chance that I'm surprised in that picture. But yeah, like there's just bugs in this. Yes, there we go. Well, thanks for stopping by, Grumps. I'm probably going to stop the stream now anyway, in all fairness, because I've been streaming for over 3.5 hours. And with all the debugger problems, I can't even show what I wanted to show. But it's been fun. I'm grateful for everyone for hanging out. The text says no now, but it's a start, and I'm going to set up my new doc. But before we do that, let's find who we're going to raid, shall we? Anyone got any preferences? Let's see who's live. Twitch.tv. But yeah, I appreciate everyone for dropping by. So, who's live? Happy Development is live. Let's just check live coders. Live. That sounds painful, guys. Live coders. The live coders. Let's just see. No, I don't want the profile. I want the list. The team. Team. Live coders. Oh, coders, team, Twitch. I'm terrible at this. Here we go. Who's live?
This thing has went from wherever we were at to...
Well, let's give Happy Development some support. You're welcome. Thanks for coming by, Ryan. But yeah, like with the video delay and the problems with debugging, I think it's just fair to say that it's enough success. But we can rate happy. Happy underscore development or just happy development? It is. Happy. Oh, happy development. Grade happy development. There we go. I don't know what Happy's working on, but let's go show some support. They've only got 5 watchers right now, so let's go raid for a bit and just show some support. But thank you for all coming by, and I will see you next time when hopefully, if we're going to pick up this app again, we'll actually be able to debug what the hell is going on. Great.
Oof. Oh, hey, thanks for that raid. Just as I sat back down. Alright, let's do this. Whoa, welcome to the channel. Right now we're messing with emails. Doing things, doing non-standard things with my reducers. Oh yeah, That's right.
Coding with Liz. Always happy to bring over the friends when I am done streaming.
Well, thank you very much. Oh, and hey, thanks for the follow, Grandmad. Grandmad? Did I pronounce it? Grandmad? Alright, now what I'm fixing to do is we have a action lookup. We'll call this action lookup. Because this is a little square.
Free.